Hey everyone, Tim Schofield here. I took a little break from creating content, so sorry for the delay in videos, but we are jumping back into it with another foldable, the brand new Vivo X Fold 5. And this year's definitely a turning point for foldables, with them getting so much thinner and lighter, just like a regular candy bar style phone. Samsung followed suit. I will throw the Z Fold 7 up next to the X Fold 5, of course. The X Fold 5 from Vivo has a triple camera setup, dual 120 Hz displays inside and outside with a really nice aspect ratio. It does have the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, which isn't quite the flagship Snapdragon 8 Elite chipset, but the 8 Gen 3 still is a very powerful processor, and we'll test that throughout the video. Anyways, let's dive into it, take a quick look what comes in the box, and then of course get some hands-on with the new X Fold 5 from Vivo. Let's get started. Here is the X Fold 5 from Vivo, co-engineered with Zeiss. Opening up the box, right away we have our phone with some information on how to keep the inside display safe, just because it is a foldable. We're gonna set the phone to the side for just a second, see what else we get. You have your Vivo flash charge, up to 90 watts of output via USB Type A and a USB Type A to USB Type C cable for charging. On top of that, it looks like they do include a case, which is really nice to see. Always nice when there's extras, especially if you're spending money on a folding phone. It seems like just the back with the hinge protection as well, which is fine. Again, really nice that it's included. Finally, SIM ejection tool plus your standard quick start guide. And on to what you came to see, the X Fold 5. And here it is, opening it up for the first time. It does have a screen protector pre-installed. Do not take that off. And a quick look at the back. Like I said, the gray color. So what I'm gonna do is turn this on, boot it up for the first time, and while it boots up, we're gonna take a closer look at the hardware of this phone. Down at the bottom, pretty glossy on the sides overall. You do have your USB Type-C port, speaker, a microphone, and your SIM card slot. Moving along to the right side, it is fairly thin overall. Definitely have to make note of that. You do have a power button, which has an embedded fingerprint scanner. You also have a quick shortcut button right up here, which we'll talk about in just a second. And of course, make note of that camera bump. You can't really have a good camera without a protruding lens, of course. Up towards the top, another speaker, microphone, and what looks to be an IR blaster. I will have to double check that. And then another look at, again, that more reflective glossy hinge. But again, the phone is really thin overall. I think because it's so thin and the design on the back, they sort of made a little cutout where the USB-C slot is just to make it so thin. I'm totally fine with that. Vivo branding on the back, and there is our camera system co-engineered with Zeiss. All three lenses in the triple camera setup are 50 megapixels. That ultra sensing VCS main lens is the Sony IMX921. The Zeiss telephoto camera is a 3x optical zoom with the Sony IMX882, and then you get another 50 megapixel ultra wide angle lens. I'm going to run through the startup process, talk about anything noteworthy, but I'd like to point out there is a pre-installed screen protector on the front display, which is really nice. Absolutely recommend keeping it on, but for the sake of the video, just very satisfying. You can set up face unlock, but we're gonna set up the fingerprint scanner. Like I mentioned, it's embedded in that fingerprint scanner, so just slide left and right to enroll. Adjust, slide more slowly left and right, and there we go. Top. Now they want the bottom of that finger. There we go. So that was pretty easy. A little bit of a different register process. They're not having you lift and put it down. They're having you kind of slide your thumb or whatever finger on. Of course, with Android, you do have Gemini as your personal AI assistant. We are all set up and ready to go. Vivo uses FunTouch OS out of the box. Let's check out that hinge mechanism and the displays. Ooh, I did like the just kind of the feeling of when it opens up. It does feel just very premium. You can hold it at any angle, and it's kind of crazy thin. As a quick demo of the hinge, opening it up, it locks in place. It is completely flat, so nothing to worry about there. And that crease in the middle, it's still there, but barely. It's really just barely there. If the light hits it, sure, you can see it, but if there's no light, you definitely can't see it. With the screen on and light, again, you can just barely tell it's there, and I can just barely feel it. You get a 21:9 aspect ratio on that front display, similar to regular candy bar style phones. This is a 120 hertz AMOLED display. It looks really good. Obviously, it looks just like a regular phone, and when holding it, since it's so thin, it does feel like a regular phone. That outside display is 5,500 nits of peak brightness, so it should get more than bright enough when you are in the sun. 4,500 on the inside display, in case you're wondering, and you can switch that refresh rate. You can force 120 hertz, force 60 hertz to save battery, or use smart switch. So that 6.53-inch display opens to an 8.03-inch display. Obviously, with that 21:9 aspect ratio, it gives it more of a rectangle, so it isn't quite a square. This is a 4 to 3.55 aspect ratio, so not quite square, but getting there, of course. And you get a 120 hertz AMOLED display with a high resolution. This is a 2480 by 2200 display. It looks great, and you do have multitasking. You can go to all of your apps. They have your quick shortcuts down at the bottom, and they're not too big, which I kind of like, how it's a small taskbar down at the bottom. I believe you can customize that. But of course, when you are multitasking, you can just sort of click and drag apps. You can go ahead and pop them over and use side-by-side screen. You can swap them back and forth or use them in their mini mode, so to speak. So let me see if I can, this app's in active use. Okay, I get that. Let's try something. Let's try this. There we go. So you can pop it into a quick mini screen, which is really great for multitasking. You can move it around. Look at how smooth that looks. That's just actually really great to see. One thing to point out, it does have a 20 megapixel inside front-facing camera and a 20 megapixel front-facing camera here as well, with a cutout, so in case you're wondering. And as promised, a quick side-by-side with Samsung's Galaxy Z Fold 7, just to give you an idea overall. Both are really thin. The Z Fold 7 is just slightly thinner overall. Both do have a camera bump. And a side look on both devices overall, just so you can get an idea. A little more square on Samsung, a little more rounded corners with the Vivo. A couple really great options for a foldable phone, so it's really exciting to see all of the advancements these companies are making. Something very different is that you get a 6,000 milliamp hour battery on the X Fold 5, much larger than Samsung's version. So that is something that's kind of crazy to have in such a thin device. Jumping into the camera app, they have landscape and night for night, moon, starry shots, and long exposure, which has got an upgrade. So you can use Vivid, Zeiss Natural, textured. There's a lot of different filters, so to speak, that are tuned in different ways, which I really like Zeiss's tuning, honestly. Sometimes I like a little more vivid if I want a little more pop, but Zeiss is really good. Also, Vivo does an amazing job with their camera lenses, of course. Let's open this up to the camera and snap a couple quick pictures. You can press this icon to get a quick preview of literally all the shots, and it seems to be really instant overall. You can also press this icon to get a cover screen preview. There I am doing some filming overall, so you can take selfies, or whoever you're looking at can actually see what you're taking a picture of. Otherwise, the shutter speed seems really quick. Let's go to that ultra wide angle lens. 0.6x seems to be quick as well. Like I mentioned, you do have a telephoto lens 2 to 3x. So this 3x is optical zoom. Everything past that is digital zoom, so you can bump it up to 10x. And look at how kind of crazy close that is. It's focusing really well. It says to move further away. Obviously, I'm just a little too close to this plant. But in case you're wondering, you can zoom all the way up to 100 times zoom, which is crazy that you can do that. Obviously, I'm not in a good space to take advantage of it. Otherwise, you do have video here. Let's take a quick peek. You can go all the way up to 4K 60 or 8K 30 frames per second. You do have a portrait video mode. Here's all of the other options, including a pro mode. That's really nice to see. And then portrait, There's a lot of options. You can go to natural, there's a classic look. So you can really play around and choose how many millimeters you want, and you can set the zoom button. There's a lot of really cool options, and getting a style and portrait effect from Zeiss that you want. See if you want the black and white portrait, street portrait, there's a few different options. Like I mentioned, landscape and night mode, so they kind of bundled it into one, which I'm kind of happy about. You can just jump to it and it should recognize what you're looking for. And the quick snapshot mode. Within settings, you have a dedicated section for folding modes such as main screen, app display ratio, flex mode. If you have it sort of halfway, it'll bump the app towards the top. You can do that on a per app basis, which is nice. Smart screen shift, so when you put it in tent mode, it'll automatically switch to the cover display. I really like that. When it's in landscape, it'll switch to the cover screen display, and when it's half in portrait orientation, it'll switch. So let's actually try that. I'm gonna set it like this, and I'm gonna set it down. Look at that. That's actually really cool that it will switch and use that front screen. Next up, you have your taskbar, which you don't need to have. It has the background color, so you can make it a little lighter or darker just depending on what your preference is overall. Origin Workbench. To launch the workbench, simultaneously display multiple apps. So swipe inward from the bottom right corner to launch. Sorry, let me turn that on, and there we go. Now you have your workbench where you can have, you know, multiple app windows on the side, and you can even pin them if you'd like to, but if you want to just quickly open up apps, you'll see it's opened up in that window. Let's open up calendar. Let's open up camera. Oh, camera isn't allowed in Workbench, but you get the point. It's really cool and a unique way to kind of quick swap apps. So if you go back and forth and back and forth, and it does seem to be really snappy, smooth, and quick. I'm really happy to see that, and you can just quickly press exit if you'd like to. Finally, a big one, fold the screen. It will just turn it off. You can have it keep the cover screen on. I don't like that there's no action. A lot of ones say, hey, swipe up to continue what you're doing. That's another option. So hopefully Vivo can add that at some point instead of just saying turn off. But if you do turn it off and then unlock, it will just kind of continue what you're doing. So that's okay, I guess. They also have an ultra game mode, which allows for a few different things like 40 game vibration and just more. You know, it does feel extremely premium of a phone. Their cameras are always excellent, especially lately. Vivo's done a really good job. They're honestly a top contender for best camera system out there. Other than that, drop a comment. Let me know what you think. I'm just kind of opening and closing to get an idea, but the hinge does feel extremely premium. A lot more to come, so be sure to subscribe so you're notified when those go live. This is just, honestly, it's been really smooth, even considering it's installing apps in the background and doing a lot of things. So a really good foldable contender from Vivo with the X Fold 5. Be sure to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and as always, thanks for watching.